All right, thank you so much for joining, guys. I am very excited to talk about employee centricity. But before I do that, let me introduce me and my organization. So my name is Garima. I am working in an organization which makes skincare, and I lead the digital agenda of HR. Now, when I talk about skincare, how many of you know Beiersdorf? Okay, these are the usual suspects. Can you guess? So let me ask you, you must have in your beauty area or bathroom, you must have seen this beautiful blue tin. When you open the tin, you see a silver foil, and you open the silver foil and take a dash of cream and you apply. Do you remember what that cream is? Yes, who said that? Okay, wait, I have Nivea for you. Can I throw? Oh, sorry. Well done. So yes, that's us. We make Nivea, but that's not all. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not all. We are a house of brands which is much more than Nivea. We make Eucerin, you must have heard about that. That's Dermacare for us. Hansaplast. We have our luxury maison, La Prairie and Chantecaille, and we have other local brands that you must be knowing in US, for example, Aquaphor, and we have our affiliate, Tesa, which makes tapes and other industry products as well. So we are an organization which is about 22,000 people globally, and we are in a lot of countries. Employee centricity is super important. Why? Because we have, as an organization, a great vision. Our vision is to be the best skincare company in the world. Now, when a company has such a great vision, what happens? What happens to HR? What happens to people? We also say, or we have extracted, that from HR perspective, we want to be the best skincare employer in the world. And when we talk about being the best skincare employer in the world, we have an ambition to focus on employee centricity. And that's the topic today for me. I would like to, in the brief 20 minutes, next 20 minutes, I would like to talk about how we achieve employee centricity with AI, automation, and enterprise-wide portal. So, when we look at our personal tech, as human beings, as individuals, as people who are living in cities, in towns, and sometimes even villages, or most of the time, at least in developed countries, we spend a lot on personal tech, right? But we are not able to match that in organizations in terms of experience. Now, some of you may actually appreciate the fact that, some organizations are little behind in terms of technology advancement. And some probably not, because you are belonging to progressive organizations. But if you talk about a lot of organizations which are complex, which have been grown organically or inorganically, and have their footprints in global landscape, it is super important to consolidate. It is super difficult to consolidate. That's why employee centricity comes in the picture. So what we wanted to do in Beiersdorf, we wanted to match what you experience in your daily basis, in your life, with your experience when you come to work. And we wanted to match with everything that employee really needs. So why is employee centricity really important? What does that give organizations? Let me talk a little bit about some facts. When you increase employee centricity, when you improve the user experience, and the experience that an employee makes in an organization, do you know that the productivity of those employees go up to 30%? Do you know that employee engagement goes up to 70%? So from an organization perspective, it is super important that we focus on employee centricity, because this is the right way to engage our employees, improve the productivity, but there are so many other benefits. So we want to also be in the moments that matter for our employees. And why is that important? Why is that important? Why do we want, as an employer, why do we want to do that? Because that's how we show we care. We care for our employees. We care for our people. We care not only for them, but also their families. And that's why Beiersdorf started the journey of their transformation. So before we started our journey, and this is now 2 years back, I joined 2.5 years back in this organization, we said we have a lot of challenges. I think, a lot of people can relate to these challenges. Some of these challenges are very simple, and I think, some of you, as I said, can relate to that. We have fragmented systems. We don't have unified systems. We have, different platforms that different countries use, different platforms that different regions use, and we are not harmonized. We have silo processes, the processes that, should be standardized and completely unified. We don't have that. Lack of access to people data. People data is so important, If you are a leader, a manager, an executive, or just an employee, you know how important data is right now, how important it is to harness the data and make meaningful, actionable insights about that. We didn't have that. But what we did was we converted all these challenges into opportunities. We said, you know what? Yes, we know that we have a fragmented landscape, but let us now make it into a unified single source of truth for every single employee. We said we will have faster resolutions to our issues. Right now, or earlier, we had Hey Joe approach, where anything that an employee needs would be secured by somebody called Joe, which is usually your HR partner or HR advisor. So we said, we will do that, and we went into a full-blown undertaking. So our approach was, and you can understand when we look at the entire landscape, looking from an existing landscape of operational wheels, which means we are partially analog, we are partially digital, but we are not there. But our ambition, because we have been so far behind in technology and advancement and just simply, increasing our tech power, we were so behind, but we said, we can't really leapfrog. We can't go straight away into AI. We can't straight away go into virtual reality. We can't go into, augmented reality and all the fun stuff that people really want to see. We said, first, we will fix the basics. And this is where ServiceNow comes in the picture. So what we undertook in the last 1.5 years is we have a 3-pronged approach. The first approach we had was we started standardizing our processes through our COEs, Center of Excellence. And we said, you know what, let's start doing that. And of course, an organization so big, we have approximately, 80 HR processes that you need to standardize. We didn't go straight away with 80, obviously, we can't. So we picked our top 7 or 8 global processes that we said will make sense. And I'm going to talk about which those processes are. We also said that, listen, if we want to remove the Hey Joe approach and if we want the organization to become a process-oriented organization and not have the information in your HR business partner's head or HR advisor's desk, we want to make sure that it's process-oriented. So we converted into shared services. And we empowered HR business partners. A lot of you may be having this on your daily basis in your organization, that HR business partners are really bogged down with administrative tasks. And this is not what we want. We want to empower them to talk to your business managers, to your general managers, to your people, to your leaders, because these are the people who really want the attention of your business partner. And this is what we achieved. But in the center of all of this was ServiceNow. Because without an automated platform or an enterprise-wide platform, we were not able to do that. And this was our operating model. And this is how we achieved employee centricity. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to probably take a little bit more time because this is the slide which talks a little bit more deeper into the processes. So This is an architectural landscape that we have, and it's a simplified view, right? It's not a very complex view, it's a simplified view. But what does that show you? At the bottom of it, you see our system of record, which is your hire to retire system that we use for our employee life cycle. And I think most of the organizations now have something like that. We call it Compass. There is obviously a vendor behind it, but we have our base system. Then we said, okay, how can we unify the experience? So ServiceNow comes in the picture. So we have laid ServiceNow as an enterprise-wide portal, but we have not only implemented the portal, we have implemented approximately 7 functionalities to boost the employee centricity. And all the 7 functionalities are listed here, but let me tell you. So the first thing is employee self-services and case management. Why are they different? Because some can be done by the employee themselves. We don't need to disturb somebody else. They can do it in the system. And the other one is case management, where the HR advisors or the shared service partners will come in the picture. The third thing is onboarding. We are utilizing the journey concept of ServiceNow for onboarding. And onboarding is such an important topic. I'm going to talk about that especially later and show you a sneak peek on how we have, what we have done there. We have also done knowledge management because, usually in an organization so big, knowledge articles and policies that you need for your HR, for your employees, is not only in English, it's also in a lot of other languages, and you need legal topics and legalities there to make sure. So we have also implemented that. We have implemented the normal portal. And I'm calling it normal because we have taken an MVP concept. I know ServiceNow has a lot to offer, but we obviously can't implement everything in one shot. So we took an MVP concept and we did that. Now all these 7 functionalities were implemented in 24 countries in the last 1.5 years. We have an ambition to complete that to 77 countries by 2026. And I think this is a journey where we would have achieved a one-stop shop for everything HR, one tool or one landing place for you as an employee, for you as a leader, for you as an executive. And I think this is a very simple concept, but not understood by a lot of people. Because what we did was our HR system, which is the underneath system of record, can be very clunky. It may not have the right user experience, but where we have a very good user experience is ServiceNow. And this is where we implemented ServiceNow and targeted all our traffic through ServiceNow as a funnel. What that did was the employees who were taking hours to find out the information and track down your HR business partner or advisor, they reduced the number of time in 4 minutes because they were able to just quickly search. And not only, search, but also log a case or talk to HR or do whatever they need to do. I don't know, look at your payslip or, ask a query or just go and browse the portal because the portal has a lot of information. So, the employee centricity that we have achieved with this architecture was a very simple concept, but really well understood by our organization and very well adopted by our employees. Now, we do have an ambition to, go outside the existing employee set, like alumni and, other people who have left the organization. But right now, our focus is this. We do have a focus on ServiceNow as that layer with all the MVP that I talked about and going globally. Once we have done that, then we can go and take the next steps to implement AI, to implement agents, to even implement virtual assistants, because then you have a platform. You have the base, you have everything that you wanted, and employees really like that. So let me just take one more minute on talking about the digital documentation that we also implemented in order to get the employee centricity up to a different level. And the very big investment that we are making is on analytics. You see that small little database kind of sphere thing, cylinder thing here. Basically, in data analytics, we are looking at near real-time information for our people for managers, for executives, for leaders who really want that information. And we are sourcing all this information from ServiceNow, from a system of records, from digital, and any other platform into this funnel, which is the analytics tool. And this is what we are also creating for employees and also for managers in boosting employee centricity. So let me go to the next one. Now, something really amazing happened. And this is, I'm very happy to talk about that. Something really amazing happened. When we started rolling out our ServiceNow platform, so our system of record Compass platform was already rolled out. When we started rolling out ServiceNow with our new operating model and everything that we have, we talked about in the previous slides, we started getting feedback from people because the platform ServiceNow allows you as a user to provide feedback. We started getting feedback from the people. And we started for the first time ever, we started active listening of employees. We knew what they want. We knew what they are looking for. We knew what are we lacking, and we knew what we are doing good. So that became a very powerful tool for us. It became like a feedback loop for all employees and, of course, us as an employer. So that became a very, very important and big tool because even though we are looking at an MVP, the feedback that we are getting is awesome. And the questions, the queries which enable us as an organization to listen to what the employees have to say became multifold. And that is, I think, the continuous improvement that we have implemented, which means that we are not only now going with iteration of these implementation in the different countries and phases, we are also developing the product because the employees need that. And we are able to attend to their request. We are able to understand and tackle what they are really wanting to have. And this, to me, I think was a very powerful thing because, we were not able to do that. Imagine people in different countries. How would we know, sitting in headquarters, what are they looking for? Yes, word of mouth, and we can probably anticipate, but it was not a data-driven decision. And this is what we have achieved. A data-driven decision, data-driven active listening, and data-driven feedback. And this, to me, was a very big success. Now, I talked about onboarding. Do you know that 1 in 3 people leave an organization within the first 90 days, according to one of the research? Why? Because we don't do onboarding properly. That's why we focused on a global experience of onboarding. And this we are doing through the journey concept of ServiceNow. We are saying that, when we log into an organization, when we go into an organization, whether you are in America, whether you're in Canada, whether you are in Iceland, or whether you are in Hamburg, or whether you are in Singapore, you need to have the exact same experience. And this is what we took as one of the key processes to first standardize, globalize, make it leaner, and make it tailored to the people who are going to join us. Because if we have a very good onboarding experience, do you know the retention rate of those people who join? That increases up to 82%. 82%. Imagine the hiring cost. I don't know how many of you are HR practitioners, but a lot of you must be knowing the hiring cost of an employee way surpasses the cost that you really need to retain a person because you have done a right onboarding. So that's why we basically took a global onboarding journey as one of the lighthouse projects or lighthouse processes within ServiceNow. Yeah, these are just the steps. So as an employee, this is just to showcase as an employee when if you are joining, I don't know, in 2 months' time, the first step, what you need to do your compliance training. The next step you need to do is, upload documents and things like that. So this is just an example of how that's going to work. Now, one of the things that we did, and I think a lot of you may be able to relate to that, is onboard our blue-collar workers. field workers, the field forces who are there, who don't have a laptop, who don't have a desktop, who are just there and working for our organization. How do we onboard them into our enterprise-wide systems? How do we enable them to answer, to ask queries? How do we enable them to get in touch with us? And we said that because ServiceNow is a very user experience, an amazing user experience, we also implemented an omni-channel strategy, which means whether you are in a, on your desktop, whether you are in a conference room on your tablet, or you are on the go, you can actually access ServiceNow, because that is your one-stop shop for everything HR. We channelize everything to there. So whether you want to, go into, I don't know, adding your skills into the system, or whether you just want to inquire about something or browse about something, you as an employee need to just go into one place, and that's what employee centricity is all about. And some of you may be knowing that not every system can be a global system, right? Some of your systems will be local systems, like a payroll, like a benefit, like a medical insurance. You can't have global systems. So even those systems will be accessed through the same channel, and that is what employee centricity is about. We are saving a lot of time from employees to, to look for scattered information that is everywhere, to remember the URLs that are, for their local system, to remember the logins that they need. So this is what we are trying to achieve. Now, we are not stopping here, and I think I briefly touch about that, no? So we have a great ambition. We want to go into real-time query support from ServiceNow. We want to go through intelligent journey design that ServiceNow is coming up with. And of course, we want to go through AI agent, Now Assist, and all the good stuff. Because why? We have reached already the critical mass by Q2 this year in terms of our employee centricity and global implementation. And now, after 2 years, we can focus on the good stuff, because now we have a base. Now we can really now empower the systems and make them mature and make them amazing and make them great for our employees and our people to actually start using that. And we are, of course, working a lot on predictive analysis and all the analysis that we need to do on data. Because, I think a lot of you are also, playing with data and working on analytics. I feel, my personal view, is if you are not able to harness the data, and if you're sitting on dead data as an employer, you are really wasting a lot of resources, and you're not contributing to sustainability. Because every time you retain that data and not utilize it, there is a server somewhere that is being burned, that is utilizing electricity, and that is wasting our resources. So it is so much better that you harness that data and you utilize the resources that you have in your organization. So that's on employee centricity. We have a great vision. We want to go further with ServiceNow, but also with other platforms that we have already in-house. I think I want to remind you, if you are reaching an employee centricity, you can increase your productivity by 30%, and you can increase your employee engagement by 70%. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my time. I do have 5 minutes. Please tell me if you have any questions. Oh, thank you.